Hello, friends. Welcome to The Dangerous Ones. I'm your host, Jim Drastic of 11 Films. And as always, I'm joined by two people way more talented than me.
Damn straight.
Number one, we've got award-winning co-founder of 11 Films, Tiffany Drastic.
Hey.
And the executive director of DemCast USA, Nick Knudsen.
Hey, everybody.
We are excited for today's show for two reasons. Number one, it's the first time in like over a month.
Feels like forever.
I know.
That the three of us have been able to sit down at the podcast tables and we don't have a guest.
Yeah.
So we can catch everybody up on what's been going on and let you know about what we got coming up in the future.
Yep.
And number two, the Peoples Hotline is back and it is blowing up and it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
Because, and the reason why we're getting into the People's Hotline is because the Trump organization is selling a hat on their website that says Trump 2028. And we don't know what that means yet, but we assume, I mean, let's face it.
Can we just have 5 fucking seconds? God. I hate this motherfucker.
So that got us to thinking. We saw the hat and we said, you know what? Let's discuss who should lead the Democrats in 2028. Because I'm a big fan of it's never too early to start thinking ahead.
Yep.
And listen, nobody wants to be talking about who's going to run for president in 2028. But if he's doing it, we had better be doing it too. We better start at least thinking about it.
We should at least start mobilizing.
And there is no shortage of names out there right now being thrown around. All of them rumors because nobody's obviously declared. It's too soon.
Allegedly.
AOC, Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, Jamie Raskin, Tim Walz, everybody's mama, Kamala Harris, and even people like sports commentator Stephen A. Smith has indicated he might like to run. So the hotline was flooded with calls. Everybody's got an opinion on this. We're going to have a fun show today. Summer is peeking around the corner. I'm finally able to do a show in a t-shirt.
Hey.
So I am pumped and ready to go. If you're watching this show on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up and leave us a comment. It truly helps this episode climb the robot algorithm. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave a 5-star review. We need all of your help to grow this show and to grow this movement. And we have incredible plans coming up to expand what we are doing. You guys are part of the Dangerous Ones family, and we are taking you with us. So let's get started. First of all, hey, everybody.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
so
my
wild.
God.
Nice to see you guys.
I know.
Well, and to let the audience know, we had a slew of guests, people wanting to come on the show, and it hasn't stopped, but we had a schedule change, and so we were able to sneak in this episode.
Yeah.
But to kind of recap, we had Senator Ron Wyden in studio.
Yep.
We had the president of the American Federation of Teachers, Randy Weingarten, in studio.
Yep.
Senatorial candidate Wiley Nickel was on the show. Massachusetts Rep Jake Auchincloss was on the show.
Yep.
And last week, which was our biggest show to date, intelligence expert Malcolm Nance was on the show. Everybody's talking about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's a hell of a start. And just to let everybody know who we got coming up, we've got California Senator Alex Padilla coming up.
Can't wait for that.
We've got California Rep Mike Levin coming on the show.
Yep.
Emmy Award-winning director, producer Marshall Herskovitz is coming on the show.
He's great.
Yeah. Oscar-nominated songwriter Sean Patterson, who also scored a bunch of stuff for the Lincoln Project. He's going to be on the show. And also activist and healthcare advocate Reggie Hubbard is going to be on the show.
Oh,
He's
dang.
It doesn't stop. And I got to tell you, from the bottom of our hearts, it is only because of you.
Yeah.
You guys are listening. You guys are watching. And it just means the world to us. I mean, how has the last few months been for you guys?
It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I mean, this is 2025 has sucked. I'm not gonna lie. But being a part of this project with the two of you and all our guests and all of you guys out there has been absolutely 100% the highlight of 2025.
Oh, yeah. How about you, Tiff?
Oh, I'm just so excited for the bench that we've built with those guests and just how great everything's been going and the response to the hotline, everyone calling in. It really feels like there wasn't any place for us all to come together and be like, oh my God, what's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Is everybody okay? And do we need to organize? And it feels like this is that ship for everybody.
I agree. And it's nice to be like, we're trying to position ourselves as kind of the alternative out there, because we are a little bit more, activist forward.
Yeah.
And, we've all been veteran activists and award-winning creators and organizers. So we have some stuff coming up, you guys. I swear to you, this is going to blow up in the next 6 months. And we are taking you guys along with us, and we can't thank you enough for just being a part of the show, commenting, liking, sharing,
calling,
telling us we suck, all of it.
Yep.
It has really been a fantastic thing.
The negative comments help us in the algorithm too.
Yeah.
Hey man.
Come on,
keep commenting.
Boost
come on,
my
MAGA.
Totally. And as we kind of recap, one of our we had Malcolm Nance on.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, everybody's talking about that episode.
Yeah.
And one of our biggest supporters, who has been with us since, obviously 11 Films Days and all that, is Anthony Spinning Circles.
Oh, my God.
And he called in and just wanted to touch base with us and let us know what he thought of the Malcolm Nance interview. And so let's play his call really quick.
Great.
Hello, this is Anthony from Texas. I'll try to keep this short as I have circles spinning. First of all, that interview was crazy good with Malcolm Nance. It was very informative. Y'all are funny, but it was scary, though.
Yeah.
I mean, dude is going to fuck with Iran. He is. He needs a war in order to get rid of brown people. It's basically what they're doing. That's some crazy shit right there. But, keep on doing excellent work, you guys. And it doesn't matter who you're interviewing. I'm going to watch. But getting Malcolm Nance again would be kind of funny. That'd be good. Hey, thank you.
I love the horn at the end.
Safe.
Me too.
Stay safe.
If you don't know, Anthony is a truck driver,
Yep.
and so hopefully Anthony
Nice.
is okay.
Honking
He's
his
out
own
there,
horn.
out there in the trenches every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony, for calling. And by the way, Anthony, I just want to say this to him right now. He was one of the first people to buy a 11 Films Draft 11 Films hoodie.
Yeah.
In the last in 2024, and he bought a hat and really has been supportive of everything we do, and I just can't tell him thank you enough. And speaking of hoodies and hats, I actually didn't mean to mention that, but check out our if you go to YouTube and you click on store, there is now some Dangerous Ones merch available right now.
So exciting.
As we speak, and there's more coming.
Yeah, more
Look at us getting our shit together.
I don't want to just make t-shirts. I want like resistance wear.
Yeah,
You know
me
what I
too.
mean?
Yeah.
Stuff you'd go to a protest in.
Yes.
So check that out. Yeah, go to YouTube and click on shop, and you'll see some stuff. And we're gonna have some 11 Film stuff. Are you gonna put some DemCast stuff?
Yep,
Yeah,
sure.
we're gonna have it all.
Right on.
But out of the guests, so let's just kind of run through them. So we had Senator Wyden.
Yeah.
First of all, that was a little nervous on that one. He's like our first.
He's
like right there. He
Yeah.
signed the wall.
I know. I'm like tripping the entire time. I'm like, as it's happening, I'm like outside my own body, like watching it all happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Nick?
That was cool.
Yeah. I thought he was great. Because we're lifelong Oregonians, having him in was just like,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm trying not to freak out like in my face, but inside I'm like, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah. And then we had obviously Randy Weingarten. That was really neat.
Yeah,
right?
she's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, I just love her.
Legendary organizer,
Yeah.
fantastic.
And so just truthful and pragmatic.
She's
and
just such a teacher.
God. Yeah.
Teacher to her core.
Yeah.
You called out Wiley Nickel, and rightfully so. God damn it, because he was supposed to announce on this show that he was running for Senate, and you said you made the biggest blunder of your political career.
Yep.
And you let him know. I let him have it.
He blew it, man. He blew it.
But
I still want you to win, Wiley.
I still want you to win. And boy, I've been following him now on social media, like on Instagram and stuff, and he's making the rounds. He's doing lots of speeches, and it's looking good. Rep Jake Auchincloss, who was on the show, I thought was kind of gave us the most well-rounded answers of all of our questions. He didn't know what we were going to ask him at all.
Yeah.
And we just started throwing stuff at him, and he goes, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And when I asked him point blank, do you think, because I asked Ron Wyden, and he didn't answer.
No, he didn't.
Auchincloss answered, and I give him credit for that. I asked him, do you think that the Social Security check that my dad's going to get is going to go down? The dollars are going to go down over the next 2 and 4 years. And he said, you know what? I don't know. And the fact that I don't know is scary.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Him and Malcolm Nance have that same vibe of like, well, I might not be able to tell you the whole truth, but I'm not going to lie to your face.
Not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the stuff I got to tell you in a skiff, but you
Sobering.
know.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Malcolm Nance, everybody was talking about that one. And he just, his big takeaway, there was like 8 of them. But the one is El Salvador is the new fucking Poland.
Yeah.
That's some scary shit,
God.
you know. And when he started going, and like, that's the thing, too. He's got the receipts. He backs up everything he's saying with knowledge. You know what I mean? It's just like, fuck.
And so I think, I don't know, the response to that for me is like, okay, we need to go back and study everything happening that happened back then. Like, Poland, 1933, what's going on? And just, because if we don't, we're just going to, I'm afraid we might slide into some shit we're not going to get out of, you know?
I agree. I think we're already barreling towards that. On a personal note, coming up here on next Thursday, April 30th, I'm going to be having my last hip removed from my human body, and they're going to take it from me. I had my other one done, and now they're going to do this one, and I got to tell you, sounds scary, but I cannot fucking wait. I'm jumping on that table, baby. Yeah, right? Yeah. Poor Nick and Tiffany had to carry everything for this studio up 3 flights of stairs. But I've been limping around now for almost a year.
Yeah.
And
well, it's hard to see, you know, I mean, you're like one of my best friends, so it's really hard to see you in pain like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, your pain threshold, like you were saying the other day, like maybe it's an 8, but I don't even really notice anymore.
Right,
so
right.
it's like I kind of feel it as a 6 or a 5.
Yeah.
If I was a newbie, it would be like an 8 or 9. But since I've been doing this for a while, and this is my second hip, it's a little lower because I'm used to it now.
So you were able to kind of jump the line.
I was able, but legally, I jumped it legally.
Yeah.
I called. I was the doctor. Okay, so just so you know, you guys know out there, listen to this horse shit. Listen to me. June 15th of 2024, I bust my hip and my arm. They repaired my arm in a week because it was literally in 2 pieces. And then they said it's going to be 11 months before we can repair your hip. I said, what's that about? They said it's because there's a shortage of anesthesiologists. Can you believe that?
No.
There's such a shortage in America of anesthesiologists that I have to wait. All of us, not just me, everybody has to wait 11 months basically to get your hip replaced.
I was so fucking mad that day because the time before this, when he got his first hip replaced, like you lived with that for
14 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh my God, in the end, it was so painful. Like it was just so heartbreaking to see you in pain like that every single day. And the second they wheeled you out of the like surgery and he's awake and he's recovered and they wheel him in and he looks me right in the eye and he goes, hi, babe. Like,
probably half stoned.
Thanks,
you know what I mean?
Thanks, anesthesiologist.
they stood you right up and just walked you out. You're like, look it doesn't even hurt.
I know I could walk around and
it never hurt you like
Not
you
like
had
the
lived
same.
with. No. And the same thing has happened now this time and it's just like
that's the thing with hip replacements. If you guys don't know, when you get your hip replaced, you actually walk that day and you walk with no pain. There is no pain once you get your hip replaced, other than they just pulled your leg out of your body, snapped it in 2, and hammered in a new thing and shoved it back in and sewed it up.
You know, besides the trauma.
You know, the wound itself, sure. Yeah. But dude, you're so much happier. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God.
Oh.
But then the other day, we were all sitting here in the office and I looked at you, Nick, and Nick, you looked depressed. And I said to you, quote, do you need a kiss? Do you want me to come over and give you a kiss? And you said, I don't know. You know, I've been feeling a little odd. Nick, what happened?
Actually, what I said was that would be good content.
Yeah. You probably should get a shot of that. Yeah. But what happened, Nick?
So as it turned out, that same evening, I ended up going to the emergency room. I had been feeling like short of breath, and having some flank pain that I'd been describing to you guys, for a while.
Yeah.
And, it turns that they did a CT scan, and it turned out that I had multiple pulmonary embolisms in my lungs. They did further scans of my legs, and I had a bunch of blood clots in my legs.
Oh my God.
So this is still pretty fresh news for me. But I think that I'm on blood thinners now. The hope is that over the next few months, my body does what it's supposed to do, and kind of eats the clots that are existing in my body, and then moving forward, I'll just have to be on blood thinners for the rest of my life. But certainly, like, scary moment, like to think that the sort of shortness of breath that I was having, the pain that I was having, that I thought was maybe like a muscle strain.
Yeah, you thought it was back trouble.
I thought for sure. I was like, he strained something.
Yeah, or like a popped a rib. Or,
Tiffany was trying to diagnose him in the office.
Go to chiropractor. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, but actually, what that was a pulmonary embolism, like strangling part of my lung until the lower right lobe of my lung just died.
Oh
so,
my God!
So I'm adjusting to my new reality, but thankful to be alive. Thankful for that I have health insurance. And that it's good enough health insurance that I'm not going to have catastrophic costs that are going to destroy my life. And that's always on the top of my mind when something medical happens, and just like I'm in a fortunate position that a lot of Americans just aren't in.
I tell you, man, I never ever do this, but man, if you guys are listening to us right now, and if you're kind of, send us a blessing Nick's way, send a blessing my way, you know what I mean, that we come out of this. And I just thank God, I'm with you, Nick. I thank God every day that I am fortunate enough, I can't believe I have to say that, to have healthcare. I got the bill already for this surgery, $125.
Sweet, man.
You know what I mean?
Like
that's how it should be.
$200,000.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It's through Kaiser, which a lot of people hate Kaiser. I understand that. But in Oregon, they're a little better. Yeah. And I like everything being in one little hospital. Yeah. Everything's kind of done.
Yeah.
Here in Oregon and Southwest Washington, Kaiser's got their shit together. I know in California, I've heard some bad things, or I don't know. I don't know if that's true either, but Isn't
this like the hub of like the
probably
flagship or whatever? I had it my whole life. I had both the kids, everything. I don't like your dental department, but everything else. Love them.
Yeah. My kids had Kaiser for their early pediatrics, and they were great.
Yeah.
Kaiser's been good to me.
Anyway, this isn't a Kaiser commercial.
So. No.
Sorry. Listen,
we just love them. We're really good care of here.
As we all kind of reminisce.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this stuff that's going on. I'm looking over at Tiffany and I'm saying, like, how'd you get stuck with two broken dudes?
Yeah, right.
Two lungers.
No, wrap yourself in bubble wrap.
Oh, she'll be fine. It won't be her.
Next week it's just gonna be me, and it's gonna be like your walker and your running shoes, and I'm just like talking to myself. Like,
oh my God, that's right. I got a walker at home already.
I'll just have like a James puppet and a Nick puppet, two socks. Like, hey, James, how's your day? Oh, it was okay.
So true.
Trump 2028.
Oh, really? Well, listen. Let me tell you something. To everybody listening to us right now, this talk, all of us talking right now, is just about the best therapy we can ask for, because it's been a hell of a couple of months.
Yeah.
But that is not going to slow the dangerous ones down, because we do not do things half-assed. If we're going to hurt our leg, we're going to break our fucking leg, and we're going to get a new one. You know what I mean? All right. Well, so it turns out, let's get to the main event here.
Let's do it.
It turns out that Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, has put a Trump 2028 hat for sale on their website, which is like, first class dick move.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, is this just a troll? I mean, probably yes, in general, right? I mean, he says that he's getting advice from his advisors that there's a way, but
are we sick
it's the Constitution.
Yeah, it's the Constitution.
Right? I mean, it's a heavy lift.
And it's fourth grade bullshit. It's just, it's not funny. Like, there is shit to do. You know what I mean? I need serious people.
But I will say, one of the pictures on the Trump website, where they're selling the hats is Eric Trump wearing Trump 2028. It does not say Donald Trump 2028.
Now that's interesting.
So maybe they have a dynasty plan
Great.
in place as a plan B in case they can't, overthrow the Constitution.
Right, in case we all don't fall for it.
Right.
All right. Before we even get into it, who do you think would be the one that they would actually? I know Eric was wearing the hat, but
Lara Trump.
Oh yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Because I don't think it's not going to be.
Don's
There's no way Don,
no,
right?
Well, we could never get away with running a girl again for a little while.
Yeah.
So of course it would be them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to turn the whole fucking trad wife thing.
Well, I don't know. We might run a woman, but
We won't win. Not against them.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree. But still, the MAGA. You think it would be Lara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a logical choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think because I thought Ivanka for a while, but she's on the outs, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this whole fucking fucked up family, you know.
Yeah.
And Eric, I mean,
Yeah.
Eric,
come on.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never have I seen a truer SNL portrayal of Eric than Chris Moffat doing
Oh
Eric
my
Trump.
God.
You know,
Just thank you for your service, sir.
yeah. So we got
What about Barron?
Too young.
too young. Got to be 35. You know.
I mean, if they're gonna blow up the Constitution, they'll do it with the Donald Trump third term,
Yeah.
not
Right.
the 35-year-old thing.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's next time.
Yeah.
But if we, and I know a lot of people, and rightfully so, are listening right now and saying, you mean if there is an election in 2028,
Yeah.
which, you know,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother show, you know. But as far as, and that really got us to thinking like, and we get it's early. I understand it's early, but who should be running the Democrats? Who should be leading that charge? Who should be, you know, who can we all get behind? Who can we rally behind? Because we have been talking to some elected officials, I won't say who, over the last few months because of our show, and even they are not sure.
Yeah.
Elected officials are not sure.
Yep.
So here's kind of a quick list. Again, AOC, Kamala, Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, Josh Shapiro, Gretchen Whitmer, Jamie Raskin, who, by the way, has indicated some interest in running, Tim Walz, who has indicated some interest in running, Raphael Warnock, Colorado Governor Jared Polis, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Sports commentator Stephen A. Smith, which that one came out of nowhere, and I'm sure a whole bunch of others.
Yeah, there's J.B. Pritzker in Illinois. There's Westmore in Maryland. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, and the question is, I guess, a little bit, right, is do we go, and this is what a lot of the calls are about too, is not only are they picking who they like and who they don't like, but it's also, do we go left? Do we go right? You know, the party itself. No, the Democrats. Do the Democrats go left? Or do they go right? How are they going to win? What is a winning formula for them? And after having some, go ahead.
And I also think it's important to think about what a good field of candidates look like.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not trying to like plant a flag and like say Dangerous Ones is behind this.
No,
we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
That's not the purpose.
We're
of
not
this
making a call
conversation.
today.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, just think to, you know, Bernie running against Hillary or against Biden, like Bernie pulled them both, I think, to the left. And so like having a diverse field of people, a talented group of people, you know, they challenge each other.
Yeah.
And they help formulate what the sort of recipe is for the Democratic platform. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I don't mean a woman can't win, but I am worried if the Trump,
I don't blame you, by the way.
If the Trump brand is what we're going up against, there is a track record of always losing with women against him. So I don't know if that would be a
That's
good
just
idea,
being honest.
You know?
Kamala only had 3 months.
Huh?
Kamala only had 3 months.
Right.
Yeah, Hillary had longer than that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I know, but I
You
just
know.
mean like I'm not sure.
But is there a stigma now of like, is there a fear of like, we can't, you know, the whole we're not going to show up to vote again because of this shit?
Well, let's just call some things out. A lot of people, and I think we have a call where he talks about, I like Pete, but are we ready?
Yeah.
Like he's the guy, the caller's ready.
Yeah.
But is America ready for a gay man to be president?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
I know.
I mean, yes, of course. You know, I mean, it's like,
and living in like on the coast is super liberal here, and so none of this like it does not offend us or sway us in any way other than we're like, okay, anyways, can we just get to work?
Yeah.
So it's very, I understand that we have that bias here. I just appreciate that we can all have this conversation again.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Mo.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. I'm just over here clicking buttons. Normally Tiffany plays the calls, but I'm over here just thumb.
It's not as easy as it looks, is it?
No, it is not. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and play the call from Mo in Ohio, who likes Buttigieg, but is worried a little bit about it.
Let's get to some calls here.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Mo. I'm calling from Ohio. And of the candidates I saw listed there, I think only Pete stands a chance. I think Newsom, I don't even know where he stands anymore. I think Harris should just run for governor of California. We don't need to run a loser again. And AOC, despite her popularity, is too far left to win on the national stage, I believe. Even Pete will be tough. I don't think we've found our candidate yet, but I hope it's a little more moderate. I really don't think America is a far left country, and I think we'll keep losing until we realize that.
Fantastic call from Mo. Thoughts?
Yeah.
I love Pete.
Me too.
Pete's been, he's been making the rounds on Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
He's flexed those muscles. He's gotten into it with the bullshit, which I think is useful in a campaigning context.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I think that saying that AOC is too far to the left, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that this is, that left-right is the, paradigm that we want to be looking at.
Yeah.
I think it's more about authenticity, right and wrong, and have versus have-nots.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that people are really fed up with the super rich in this country,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and people who are able to effectively carry that message of working people versus oligarchs might be the right formula for the 2028 presidential election, especially if the economy goes into free fall with these tariffs and these ridiculous economic policies and tax cuts and stuff. So I think it remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that AOC ends up being, the right voice at the right time.
Yeah.
And if you really listen to what she's saying, it isn't too far left. Her actions and her words are very working class, very union based, very blue collar, very can we just afford shit like our parents could? It doesn't feel, if you really listen, it doesn't feel like she's too far to the left or even the center is too far away from being able to listen to that.
Yeah. And I would say this as well, is that when you think about, is AOC too far to the left? I would go back to 2015 and you saw Donald Trump come down that escalator, and every Republican, I guess you would call them rhinos now, said, not only are we going to lose, but we will never win an election ever again, because he was so radically to the right. And I mean, even racist and fucking all this other shit. And it turned out that was not true at all, that he was able to, fine, he might have been all the way to the right and he'd been that crazy stuff, and he is that, but he was able to message himself like working man, which is the biggest crock of shit ever, but he was able to message correctly. So she might have personal personal values that are very, very progressive, but as long as she messages correctly, it's, winner, winner, chicken dinner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you were saying, it might not be left or right or conservative or liberal. It's like when you go to the optometrist and they put that thing. And they're like, 1 or 2. And it's maybe it's right and wrong this time. Maybe it's authentic and fake this time.
I got another call for you guys. This is Hassan in Virginia. And he's actually...
This is Hassan.
Okay. And
I never did that, just for the record.
Tiff, you're in charge of the call.
No.
I'm just saying.
Stop it. No, I'm just kidding. Hassan in Virginia, actually, his call surprised me. Take a listen to what he thinks the Democrats should do.
Okay.
Howdy, this is Hassan from Northern Virginia. Just wanted to say, to answer your question that was posted on Blue Sky, I do believe that the Democratic Party should move to the right, not to the center, but to the right on social issues. They should move to the center on fiscal issues, and then they should maintain the course when it comes to environmental issues and things of that nature. That way, in that case, they can expand the party, be able to compete not just on the east and west coasts, but also all throughout the country. The fact of the matter is that there are many people who are socially conservative and who are faith-based oriented, who value the things that people on the right do, but are disgruntled and have no place to go and would rather want to be welcomed into the Democratic Party. And I think that there's a place for them to be in the Democratic Party, given the fact that the Republican Party is pretty much a Trump party, which has no identity but to just demand fealty to Donald Trump. So thank you very much, and thank you for taking my call.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was Hassan from Virginia. I think I'm saying his name wrong, but
Hassan,
thank you. So he thinks we should go to the right on social issues, and to the center on fiscal issues, and to the left on environmental issues. I don't see the Democratic Party going to the right.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you poll the American people on the issues, they're with the Democrats' position. Like when you poll on Social Security, on Medicare, on Medicaid, on the environment, on LGBTQ rights, on literally everything, Democrats win, except maybe on the economy, which is also bullshit. Because if you just look at the history of Republican presidents and what they do to the economy, but
no shit.
So I think the idea that trying to become more like Republican light on issues when actually we have the winning position on issues, I'm not sure it's the right strategy. What I think we have is a disinformation problem and an image problem where the Republican Party has successfully branded the Democrats as radical, when the actual policy positions of the party are extremely mainstream and popular. So,
good point.
I think it's more about effectively communicating, and that's why, I talked about authenticity.
Yeah,
effectively communicating what the vision is from a democratic, capital D democratic standpoint of what we want this country to look like.
I wish Hassan would have said which social issues he thought they should move to the right on. That would have been interesting. But what was your take?
I feel like casting a wider net to the right and the center makes sense.
Yes, I do. I do too.
We've come as far as we can come to the left, and it's excluded people because of just how the culture played out and all of these races. So it makes sense it doesn't mean we want less of this or there's no room for this at all. It's just all of these people who happen to be the majority of the base felt ostracized, or they felt like they didn't belong, or they felt shame for not being super left. And so, these are not the fish that got away. These are. So how do we get them back? Because that's the only way we're going to win as a party, is if all of us come together and support, let's not do what they're doing. But there's plenty of room at this table that all of us built for everybody.
And I would say to Hassan that, think about it for a second, man. Think about it. Maybe put those social issues aside for just a second and think about which party is the moral party to be on right now. And I believe that Democrats, yes, could possibly move to the center a little bit in fiscal things. Clearly there's waste out there and stuff. And, we try a lot of things and then they don't work. But although I do believe of taking care of everybody, but, how do you bridge this gap, right? He wants this and that. I would say, listen, man, look at the two parties. I don't think we're too far off from where it sounds like you are, Hassan. But,
I think that's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to right and wrong. It's going to come down to you're either with the people or you're against them.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say to your point, Tiff, is we did lose some people who were in the center for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Or more toward the center. There's also a lot of people who just didn't vote.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who just don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if shit goes down in America over the next few years like it might, this could end up being an extremely high turnout election.
Yep.
That's a referendum.
Yep.
Where we don't really need to worry as much about the people in the center right who decided to vote Trump last time.
Right.
And it could be more of a mobilization situation where we're just trying to mobilize working people and more people on the left. So
yeah.
Good call. Yeah. This next one is Mark from Marysville, Washington. Pac Northwest coming in hot right here.
Hey, this is Mark from Marysville, Washington. To the question of should AOC run for president in 2028, I would absolutely support her if she did. And to the question, should Democrats move to the left or towards the center? Absolutely to the left. This is why we lost to Trump in the first place, when Democrats moved to the right with Hillary instead of moving to the left with Bernie. There's currently a third of the voters that vote Democrat, a third vote Republican. That leaves a whole third more that aren't voting because they feel totally disaffected. You need to reach out to them. You need to show them why they should be voting for you. Democrats need to stop fighting over the 10% are stuck between Democrats and Republicans and fight for the 30% that feel like government is totally leaving them out.
So Mark from Marysville straight up is saying, don't go after the Moes or the Hassans of the world. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or don't. That's what he's saying. I'm not saying you do or don't.
I mean, it makes sense too.
Yeah. He's saying, yeah. But let me ask you this. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Yeah. No, I was going to ask you, both of you, do you think that back in 2015, if Bernie Sanders would have got the nomination, he would have won, or would Trump still have won?
I think Bernie would have won.
And then this is just a guesstimate. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, he might have. Yeah.
Well, I know he might have. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I mean, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think there was enough empathy left back then that I think he would have won. That's the other thing we're up against this time is all of the young men have been mobilized to the right. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And that's going to be really hard to counteract messaging wise.
Well, we got another notch there for AOC. He seemed to be a big fan of that, and he thinks the entire party should move to the left, which is that brings up our next caller. This is Lori from Milwaukee, Oregon, and she makes a really good point of what is left center Democrat. What is all that? Let's take a listen.
Let's hear you, Lori.
Hi, my name is Lori. I'm calling from Milwaukee, Oregon. And I'm answering your question. Yes, I think she should run. I am really annoyed by the whole left-center question about Democrats. I mean, what does that mean? If you're in the center, you don't support universal health care, that's too leftist, or climate science is too leftist. AOC is killing it. Bernie is killing it. As a Democrat that is considered progressive, although I don't think that healthcare being a human right and offering single-payer universal healthcare is so far radical left. I don't think a living wage is radical. I don't think regulated capitalism is radical. I don't think the Consumer Protection Bureau is radical. And I don't think saving the planet is radical. That is where Democrats should be. So, yes, she should run. And yes, we need to differentiate ourselves and talk about what we really are for, and that is for our federal government to provide the social services and even the playing field and take care of our infrastructure. So if that means I'm a radical communist lefty, then that's what I am. Anyway,
Lori.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
That'll be the first T-shirt in our
Radical communist lefty.
Yeah.
Radical communist lefty. I
In our
love it.
TikTok
Just
shop.
like Lori.
Go to the Dangerous One shop right now. Just kidding. I love that call.
Yeah,
I do
that's
too.
great.
I do too.
And she brings up just the right questions.
Yeah.
It's like, again, and I keep bringing up authenticity, but like, I really think it's less about left and right ideas than it is about like having a vision and owning it.
Yeah.
And being real about it. And that's why like, Mark and Lori, who are saying like, yeah, AOC should run. I would love it if she ran not because I think she would win or could win. Maybe she couldn't. I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
That would have to play out, but her presence in the field of candidates would have a big impact.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of like
That's a good point.
what the policy positions are that are being sort of bandied about in the debates and all that, but also like she communicates in a way that people respond to in mid 2020s communication.
Yeah.
She's really good on social media. She's really plain talking.
Yeah.
She talks like a normal person, but she also like steps it up, and like in those hearings, she's a bulldog.
Yeah.
And so she's smart as a whip, but she's also like somebody who used to work in service in the service industry. So she's really relatable. So I think she could set an example for all the rest of the people in the field too about how to conduct their business, which I think would be helpful for whoever ends up becoming the nominee, even if it's not her.
This cookie cutter thing that we do in politics, where like you can't color outside the lines and don't look
God, I
to
know.
this and don't we're out. Like that's
over. I'm done with that. I don't want to hear that anymore.
And I really don't think millennials and Gen Zs want to hear it either.
No.
Like they're just, you raise them on reality television and competition shows and social media. The canned answer thing is like, it's really over.
Yeah.
It's really over. And if you're going to come up here and sell yourself for president, I better be able to look up your record and you better be able to stand on it. Because if you can't, then what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like you can't fake it anymore.
And just some quick facts about AOC. One of the things that I actually had to look this up because I didn't know, I was like, is she even 35? And sure enough, she is. She's 35 this year.
Yay.
She graduated from Boston University, graduated cum laude with a BA in International Relations and Economics. She's been representing New York's 14th Congressional District since 2019. She was part of the Blue Wave that we all remember. And she's obviously a member of the Democratic Party, but identifies as a Democratic Socialist. She's an effective communicator. She's very energizing. And by the way, she's currently on the Fighting Oligarchy tour with Bernie Sanders, which, if you ask me, is creating all the buzz right now in the Democratic Party. She's a big advocate for, by the way, I'm not trying to sell her. I'm just,
No, I'm trying to get you to come to Portland.
Yeah. Come on. She's an advocate for Medicare for all. She co-sponsored the Green New Deal. She obviously supports things like tuition-free public colleges and universities, which, come on, let's do these things.
I know.
Fuck.
I don't understand how everything is broken. I mean, I know, but like.
And one of the things, this is always overlooked, is she opposes private prisons and mass incarceration. Tiffany and I, that's one of our personal things.
Yep.
I cannot stand that. I don't like the way people in jail or in prisons are treated. It's inhumane and is not. You don't reform anybody in prison the way it is currently set up in America. It's horseshit. It's halfway torture. Listen, some of these people are horrifying people and they deserve some things, but a mass majority of them are in there for fucking drugs and some other horseshit. You know what I mean? Some of the knocks on AOC obviously is like, she's already got kind of a mark from the right. Fuck them, I say. Fuck them.
How can they even? What are they going to say? She's not serious.
They are going to no matter who the Democratic nominee is, there is going to be a grotesque caricature of that person.
Oh yeah,
she already has one.
They'll say she's illegal. They'll say all kinds of crazy things.
And it's something to consider from an electability standpoint. But it's not the end all be all.
Yeah. Before we continue on with the calls, we have a few more calls. But folks, if you go to www.tealandorangereport.com, you will see a article that was written by our very own Tiffany Drastic about this very subject. And if you like this show and want to support this show, since it'll just be Tiffany here in a few weeks, it'll be Tiffany by herself. No, I'm just kidding. Knock on wood. You can do so by becoming a paid subscriber on our Substack. And pretty soon we'll be making that available on our YouTube, so you can become a paid subscriber there. I think right now on Substack it's only $6 a month. If you have the means and you want to chip in, please do so, because you're going to get articles like this. Tiffany, give us a little sample of the article that they can go read right now.
Yes, they can. Okay, so this week's article is called Reichstag or Rome, It's Already Burning. And did you know I took German for 4 years in high school, and I was like fluent by my senior year. Gone. Don't remember a damn thing. Had to look up how to even pronounce it.
So what is the first word?
Reichstag.
And what does that mean?
That is when the German parliament was burned and they blamed it on the communists. So that's how Hitler got the Nazi regime started, and it was like the first false flag of time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Reichstag or Rome, it's already burning. You do not meet fascism in the middle. You meet it with courage, or you surrender to collapse. We need leaders who understand the weight of what is happening in America right now. Not only what it means to live paycheck to paycheck, but what it means to do it while up against the biggest transfer of wealth in modern history. Leaders who know what fear of losing your livelihood does to your soul, what the stress of crushing debt or chronic illness does to a family. We need leaders who speak the language of faith, not for content or followers, but because they're authentic. They've cried in the bathroom at work, just like the rest of us, and then wiped their tears and gone about their horrible day. We need authenticity. We need an American's American. It doesn't matter what their name is. It matters what their record is. We need someone who still believes this country can be saved, who still puts the little guy before the PAC donations, and who is willing to do more than just smile for the cameras while our republic collapses. We are sick and fucking tired of canned answers and cook-offs, especially millennials and Gen Zs. They want fresh, young energy that the party establishment has wagged its finger at since before they were born. As we march to what feels like the end of our freedoms, either you stand shoulder to shoulder with all of us, or we'll find someone who will.
Wow.
Oh, thanks.
Damn.
Wow.
Thank you.
Good job. We've been watching Handmaid's Tale recently. We just got into that. And so I would just say, praise be. Praise be. Blessed be the fruit.
Right.
You're gluttons for punishment. Man.
Oh, man. That was
Tiff, that was great.
That was great.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
You can read that entire article at www.tealandorangereport.com. That's what we have named our Substack because it's the colors of our logo.
Yep.
Tealandorangereport.com. And what was the name of the article?
Reichstag or Rome, it's already burning.
Love it. Let's transition from there to Terry in Indiana. Terry, what is going on?
Hello, my name is Terry. I am a American citizen, born and raised my whole life in Indiana. And for me personally, I would rather have, at this point, my top two picks are Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Tim Walz. And essentially anyone else that's considering running for president at the moment, I don't think should be running. So Pete Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom, even Kamala Harris. The reason why I say this is because they represent the status quo, fixing things a little bit around the edges, but not like doing something substantial to help people's lives. Whereas the former, AOC and Tim Walz, they are, at least for the most part, trying their best to push America or the state that they are governing in a more progressive way forward. And I feel like it's kind of odd that, Kamala Harris had the message of, we're not going back, keep a new way forward, yet she wanted to bring things back that was very unpopular. So that's just my suggestion. AOC and Tim Walz are my front running picks. And everyone else, I think they should step aside. Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Tim Walz. That one kind of threw me for a left turn.
Well, so I mean, everybody else has to hang it up, according to Terry.
Yeah.
I think that the common thread here between the AOC and Tim Walz is again, it gets back to what you said in your piece and what we've been talking about here is the authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Minnesotans love about Tim Walz is he is him.
Yeah.
You know, he's the coach. You know,
that's right.
And I think that, you know, the Harris Walz campaign, you know, sort of inflated that image and stuff and maybe kind of corporatized it a little bit. But he's like, if you see him in interviews, if you see him on the stump, if you see him talking to people, like he's just a real dude, you know? And similar to AOC, you know, in terms of relatability. So yeah, I can see why I can see the thread there.
Yeah.
That Terry's looking for.
Well, plus you wouldn't think of Tim Walz as being this like, you know, kind of progressive-ish type guy. I mean, I guess you would, but outside of Minnesota, you might not realize. I mean, things like the free lunch for all students in a state, like, dude, like when we were growing up, that would have been killer.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what I mean? And plus Tim Walz, I got to say, surprised the shit out of me during that campaign, was just solid as a rock. And you're right. He was authentic.
Yeah.
You know,
he's a really good bridge between like it's really palpable now, especially when people call in this difference between like the caller was saying like the status quo or the establishment Dems versus like when people say progressives or left. Like Tim Walz is a really great interpreter between like how we feel out here as regular Americans and, you know, the people who've been on the Hill, born on the Hill, bred on the Hill this entire time. And they're just like given these jobs, you know, he was a really great representative for regular people.
I agree. I think we have like 4 more calls and I want to get to them all because they're all really great. Let's just keep cranking through these.
Cool. Let's do it.
We've got, this next one is Alan from California. Let's see what Alan has to say.
Yeah, hi. My name is Alan Kugi, Kugi, and from Temecula, California. I'm interested in seeing Cory Booker run for president. He really impressed me when he stood up in Congress and did his marathon speech. So I think he has the articulation, and I think he would have a good chance of getting elected. There's a lot of other good candidates, but he's the one that stands out for me right now.
I don't hate the pick.
No, I love Cory Booker.
I love Cory Booker.
Yeah.
You know.
No, his stock definitely went up with that filibuster.
Yeah.
People won't forget that.
Yeah. And I think it even went up in my book, you know, seeing that. Love the pick. Love it. Thank you, Alan. That was a good call out.
Good call.
Next is Anonymous from Oregon. She
got some PNW.
I know. Well, they know. I think they know we're from here, so they're just like calling my show.
Yeah.
So this is Anonymous from Oregon.
Okay, I'm answering the call about who should run for president, I believe it was. I'm in Oregon as well, and I'm all for Kamala coming back. She didn't have her moment to be able to do the things she wanted to do. So that's who I'm voting for. Bye.
I love that she called. Thank you, Anonymous from Oregon.
Yeah.
The question is, I'll start with Tiffany first. Do you think if Kamala ran again, it would be successful?
I don't know. I think there's 2 camps. I think K-Hive is alive and strong and they're ride or die forever.
Yeah.
And then there's a faction of people who are like, if I fucking hear from that camp ever again, I'm never voting.
I get it.
Like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's too early for people or I don't know. I don't know. I know the energy isn't the same. I know that's not there.
Real quick before we go to Nick, I would say to this day, I still love her to death.
Me too.
I think she absolutely did everything she could.
Yeah.
She wasn't perfect. Nobody is. But she really stepped up. And look, I'm sure she made mistakes, and we can all debate that for the rest of the time.
All day long.
But she had 90, like Nick says, she had 90 fucking days.
Yeah.
Eat a car, man.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Nick?
In the places where Kamala Harris's campaign spent a ton of money and where she campaigned a lot, the margin was tighter than it was in other places across the country, including places like California and New York, where Trump gained like 10 points over the 2020 election. So I don't think we can definitively say that like the campaign failed.
Yeah.
If Joe Biden had passed the reins right after the 2022 midterms, and the Democrats had a full, cycle of primaries, and Kamala Harris had come out on top as the heir apparent, and she'd had a full, 9 months to campaign. It could have been totally different.
Yeah.
Like, she was a strong candidate.
Yeah,
she did
I
a great
agree.
job. She was a really good communicator. I was in the room for her acceptance speech at the DNC.
We were all at the DNC.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All at
In
the
Chicago.
DNC. And it was moving and spot on and invigorating.
Yes.
And the gap was just too big for a variety of reasons. So I love Kamala Harris. I'm all for her running again if she wants to. And again, it's about making the field of candidates as strong as possible, so that the right person can emerge.
And that's one thing about Democrats is we know how to rally. Like, we know how to build momentum and we know how to build energy. And she had all of it.
Yeah.
But to feel that and be so hopeful and then to wake up the next fucking day, that is a really hard fall, and it's really far. And I think that people are still hurting over that. Yeah.
I'm going to say this and then move on to the next call. And I was at the DNC. I saw the excitement. It was fucking out of this world.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, even if she had 9 months or a year, I still think she would have lost. I don't think she would have won. I think Trump would have still beat her. There's something that didn't connect with more people. It didn't connect with folks to get them out to vote who were already on her side, right? And it didn't connect with people who were not on her side. I have loved ones in my family who I love, who never liked Trump before, but all of a sudden this year did. And you just go, okay, something didn't connect.
Yeah.
So I don't believe she would have won. That's me personally. But I think that I'm more than happy to see her run and make your case and win through the
cycle.
The cycle.
Yeah.
I'll ask, were the people in your family who decided that they loved Trump, did they decide that in the last 2 months of the election?
Oh, probably. I mean, they're, and they were, and when I heard the reasons why they loved Trump, they were just talking point horse shit of newer things that they were throwing out to get new voters. So I don't want to go any deeper than that, but it was just, I heard some shit and I was like, that's okay. They're lying to you.
I think it's totally, I think it's totally possible that no Democrat could have won the last election because of environmental factors and because of that's a good point. Extreme disinformation machine that the Republicans have. I don't think that was necessarily on Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Patricia from Unknown.
Ooh.
Hi, this is Patricia Sprott. I'm just calling to answer your question about who should lead the Democratic Party, and I think AOC and Peter Buttigieg. Thank you.
Peter Buttigieg.
That's, hey, man.
Nailed it.
Right.
Nailed it, Patricia.
She's excited.
So Patricia likes AOC and Pete. I think we're going to see a lot of that over the next 4 years.
I do too.
Or 3.5 years,
Even
something like that.
I posted this thing on Blue Sky about, I don't know who I want, but I know what I don't want. What is everybody saying?
What did you get?
Yeah, and a lot of comments. I posted it and then I never went back, so I wasn't, because I got busy. And then you look at it the next day, you're like, oh, shit,
You feel like a dick.
Yeah, and there's like 40 comments, Mark Kelly and Andy Bashir.
Mark Kelly?
Yeah. Jason Crow. Those are really good ones. This one person said, I want either Rahm Emanuel or Andrew Cuomo. Started off a whole fucking lightning storm of like argument. Like I thought
that's got to be troll.
Dude, it was like, I thought that it was like going to turn into, I thought I was going to have to like block someone or something. And by the end of the argument, they just worked it right out. And I thought, oh, see, that's the other thing I miss too, is being able to like, have these conversations and like have your opinion, and you're not going to get canceled, and it doesn't mean you're a dumbass or you're trying to be anything. I'm just, we're just talking out loud here.
So remember, Billy Ray said when he was on the show, he said, do you think if Mark Kelly would have ran, he would have lost or whatever like that? Because he's saying basically what he was saying is that a Mark Kelly Democrat is what we need to win in 2028. And I can't say I 100% disagree with that. I don't know yet, but like,
I don't think
I could see him winning. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I could see him winning.
He's an astronaut.
He's a fucking astronaut.
He's a fucking hero.
He's a fucking astronaut. His wife was horribly, all the things that happened was shot. It was just the cats lived through some things. His brother's a fucking astronaut.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat that. You know what I mean?
That's an authentic human being that I am comfortable with representing my country.
And one more call. This is Brenda from California. And what I really like about her call is she mentions somebody at the very end who we haven't talked a lot about that we should finally wrap up this conversation about.
Okay.
This is Brenda calling from Rancho Cucamonga, California. And I think the race for 2028 starts with AOC, Kamala Harris, or Pete Buttigieg. I'm a Californian, definitely not Gavin Newsom. Thank you.
Interesting.
Okay.
So let me start this one off. And I don't know, it was like a month ago or something like that. Maybe it was a couple of months ago. Gavin Newsom started having far right wingers on his podcast.
Yep.
And he started getting filet-o-fished online about that. He got filet-o-fished when it came to how he handled, and by the way, I saw some people I respect filet-o-fish him about what happened during the fires, which, the guy can't control everything. But again, I'm not in California. I didn't live that. I don't know. I would say if you were to ask me 2 years ago, sitting in this chair, who do I want to win? I would have said Gavin Newsom. That's a true story. That's who I would have picked. I don't know if the man can win now. I don't know if he can. I mean, maybe he can, but thoughts?
I will say, as somebody with former Californian and somebody who has family and friends in California, not everybody in California likes Gavin Newsom, like Brenda. He hasn't exactly been like an all-star governor, and there's a smarminess that is off-putting to some people.
Smarminess.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And which I can't deny that I see it.
I never thought of that before.
He looks like a politician.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Slick back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But can I say also really quick, and then I want to get your take, Tiff, is it was during the race when Joe was still in the race against Trump this last time before he dropped out. For some insanity reason, Gavin Newsom wanted to debate Florida Governor DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis, yeah.
I watched that, and I thought, wait till Gavin Newsom cleans his clock, right?
Yeah.
Well, that didn't happen. That did not happen. Gavin Newsom was not very good on that. And that went, now we all have our off days.
Right.
And I still think the guy's a pretty square guy, but like.
But DeSantis?
I know, and I was like, I watched that and I went, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
What is your take?
I really liked him.
Yeah.
Like, really liked him. I thought he is a straight shooter. He's going to say it right to your face, but I didn't take into account the smarminess until you just said it. And I was like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's that.
You've brought up a few times in the last few years at home, we'd be watching him on TV and you'd be like,
what is it about this motherfucker? Yeah. Now I get it. Because the French laundry thing during COVID.
Rubbed
me wrong, but also I'm not a governor. I don't know how you guys rub elbows. I don't know what the fuck is going on over here. You know, just when you show up, please do the right thing. And I thought that he could do that. But then all this shit happened with the fires. And then he had all these extreme right wingers. And I was talking to somebody,
Kirk.
And they were talking about how actually that's a really great strategy because it shows that like if you reach, which I understand, but like not those motherfuckers. Like
don't give them airtime.
Don't platform those people.
No, what the fuck? So that's a couple of strikes for me where I'm like,
well,
he's not as shiny now, you know?
He's not as shiny. Yeah. With the Dangerous Ones account, I posted something that day when I saw that Steve Bannon was on. I was like,
what the fuck?
There's one thing about debating people who you disagree with, but there's also giving airtime to people. And I got a little bit torched in the comments a little bit where people were like, don't do this, don't say, you know, because they didn't want me to like,
ruin his chances.
Yeah, yes. But like, you know, I'm like, listen.
I'm not the one who had him on my fucking podcast, dude.
Let me tell you something. You'll never see Steve Bannon on this podcast.
No fucking way.
Happen. Yeah. There's a lot of people who I won't even say you will never see on this podcast because not on your fucking life.
I can't.
You know?
I can't.
I will say, so the other three people that Brenda mentioned, AOC, Kamala Harris, and Pete Buttigieg, we've heard them throughout the calls, and that actually lines up. There was a Yale University survey that came out of Democratic voters this last week, and the top three are Kamala Harris, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Pete Buttigieg.
Okay.
In that order. And then I think number 4 was actually Gavin Newsom. So
wow.
Okay. Yeah. I did see a lot in the comments of our posts. Like, what do you guys think about Beto?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing with Beto is I'm sorry, and I love Beto O'Rourke. I love this man, but he can't win an election.
He keeps losing.
Lately. You know what I mean? Like he's lost 3 big ones in a row.
Yeah.
And I go, bummer. I mean, I think the guy's fucking smart as a whip, and I don't understand why he's not connecting.
I don't either.
And by the way, if it ended up being Gavin, I'd support the man.
Yeah,
if it ended up being 100%. Beto, I'd support the man.
Yeah.
Like we're just talking shit. We're playing armchair quarterback.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But if you can't take the dangerous ones talking shit about you a little bit, then you got bigger problems than fucking, you know.
And I understand it's early, but if we don't start talking about it now and preparing now and mobilizing now, then like I cannot show up again with a knife to a gunfight. I can't do it. I need to.
This country can't handle it.
You know, it's like we need to dissect it. We need to get into it and get our hands dirty and pick it apart and see what's up.
Yeah,
you know
what's going to be hilarious?
Yeah,
it's going to get to 2026, 2027. And the primaries will start rolling, and it's going to end up being somebody that we didn't even mention.
Nobody on these lists.
And then we're gonna play this episode back and just laugh.
Like, look how dumb we were. Yeah.
So let's end this episode with and again, I know it says here the sports commentator Stephen A. Smith. I'm quite sure that will probably not ever materialize into anything, even if it did. He's who knows, But I will say this about that one, when I read that, is one time I read, I know this sounds crazy. I hope everybody doesn't hit the unfollow button in the upper right-hand corner. But when I saw, it was like, I don't know, it was like 4 years ago or something. I saw The Rock was going to run for president. I halfway in my mind was like, as a Democrat, he was going to run for the Democrats. And I was halfway in my mind going like, we almost need somebody crazy, different, bombastic, kick the fucking door in style. And I didn't hate it right off the bat. You know what I mean? And I feel guilty for saying that out loud because Trump did that and it worked. And like he created a whole movement.
Yeah.
You know, we keep throwing these BBs at the target and it keeps falling down. So I'm not saying I want a Stephen A. Smith, but maybe, like you said, maybe there's somebody out there that we're not thinking of that just kind of come knock the door in. It's going to be the guy, the person, the woman, whoever, you know.
I do think that there's something to that idea that somebody who's a non-politician, who's a really good communicator, could come out from left field, so to speak. And that could be a disaster, or maybe it could be the best thing ever.
Well, we can't lose any more than we are now. Right. So, hey, fuck. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Dangerous Ones. We have some incredible shows coming up.
So excited.
We're going to get some surgery next week, but we will still have a show on. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We got tons of content lined up coming out, and we have a whole movement ahead of us, and you are part of it. I swear to God, this is going to be a lot of fun, and also let's grow this together and let's start winning. If you would, again, please hit like and subscribe. Please give us a 5-star review if you would, and if you'd like to help support this show, you can go to Teal and Orange Report, www.tealandorangereport.com, and become a paid subscriber to our Substack. It'd mean a lot to us. On behalf of Nick Knudsen and Tiffany Drastic, thank you so much for watching or listening, and have a great rest of your day.